This is Sigmund Bloom with your Week 8 waiver wire quick hitter at the top of the list for quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, after his 100-yard game, the passing game's getting a little better each week, and this team continues to win. If you can't get Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo is having to pass more with the San Francisco defense not looking as fearsome going forward. Maybe Christian McCaffrey could also help his passing numbers. We're not sure who's going to start for the Saints. It's a pretty good matchup against the Raiders this week. If you have to pick up one of the two to start to cover Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, let's say Andy Dalton, even though he threw 6 touchdown passes, 2 of them to the defense last week. But let's be ready to switch over to Jameis Winston. Other pickups for Mahomes or Herbert this week. Sam Ehlinger is going to start for the Colts. He could be a good runner. Taylor Heinicke finally came around after a rough start, throwing the ball to Terry McLaurin for a big touchdown, a big passes to clinch the game against the Packers. Davis Mills had a pretty good week last week against the Raiders, goes up against Tennessee this week. PJ Walker had a good week against the Bucks. He goes up against a reeling Atlanta defense in very deep 2 quarterback superflex leagues, Brett Rypien and maybe Malik Willis with Ryan Tannehill banged up. Let's watch the injury situations. Rypien could get another start because Russell Wilson's hamstring can get even better in the Week 9 bye if they let him sit this week. The running back, of course, the 2 big pickups would be throughout there. Michael Carter with Breece Hall going down for the year, but even more, Gus Edwards would be at the top of your list if he's still out there, dominating the backfield, so much so that the Ravens return to a run-heavy approach with him in there. The next tier would be, Benjamin. Even with James Conner potentially coming back, I don't think we've seen Benjamin's last start. He finally showed he was productive as a starter, good enough to be in fantasy lineups. Dante Foreman, good enough to be in fantasy lineups. Chuba Hubbard has sprained ankle, so we may see Foreman get all of the work or most of the work to himself against Atlanta, although that also might be a high watermark for that offense against a Bucs team that had one of the worst afternoons that we can remember for Tom Brady. Antonio Gibson, if he was dropped, had a bigger role in the passing game with a nice toe tap touchdown, a good change of pace. There's potential value there. And even though Isiah Pacheco didn't do much as the starter, you still see potential path value for him, maybe eventually taking over this backfield in one of the best offenses in the league. Rounding out the 1%ers at the running back position, Tyler Allgeier got a touchdown. You know that the Falcons aren't going to abandon the run. Dontrell Hilliard, let's look at some backup running backs as we're getting deeper in the season. Derrick Henry is getting worked a ton. Dontrell Hilliard would be the next up. Josh Jacobs getting worked a ton. Raiders are running the ball well. You might see Zamir White have some value later on. Keaontay Ingram, again, if James Conner can't stay healthy, he looked pretty good in a committee with, Benjamin scored a touchdown, looked good on a 24-yard reception. And don't forget Samaje Perine, because Cincinnati looks like one of the best offenses in the league. You want to have players attached to that offense. Wide receiver Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Wan'Dale Robinson, if they're out there, you might want to take a look. Robinson's value is getting larger as his role is. DJ Moore, actual functional offense. Tyler Boyd in one of the best offenses. Curtis Samuel, if he was dropped, looks like he's going to be fine with Taylor Heinicke, at least while the Washington wide receivers are banged up. Going a little lower, Josh Palmer's on bye, but with Mike Williams banged up, Keenan Allen not healthy yet, there's potential value there. Khalil Shakir, a really good stash in this Bills offense. Isaiah McKenzie might not be an obstacle for long. Rounding things out, if you need a 1-week pickup, Marquise Goodwin with DK Metcalf banged up, Kalif Raymond with Josh Reynolds still not 100%, DJ Chark on IR, Darius Slayton catching a long touchdown from Daniel Jones, and Mecole Hardman's on bye. I don't know if he's going to get 3 jet sweep touchdowns, but at least he has a chance to go off for you if you have to plug him in out of desperation. At tight end, see if Dawson Knox was dropped. He would be your top pickup this week. Anyone attached to Josh Allen is someone on our team. Dalton Schultz looked good, got a little banged up. Check on his practice report status, but you see with Dak Prescott out, he becomes back out there. Schultz becomes a bigger part of the offense. Touchdown went to the UDFA rookie Peyton Hendershot, but if Schultz had caught that, he'd be even higher on our list. Hayden Hurst had a good week, even though everyone else in the Bengals offense had a good week. That's how good that offense is. He's a good pickup if you need someone for this week. So is Irv Smith going against the Arizona defense that just gave up 2 touchdowns to Juwan Johnson. Going a little lower, Harrison Bryant should get a starter too with David Njoku banged up. Will Dissly, if you need somebody, might get a few targets just for this week with DK Metcalf probably out this week. Stay tuned. Greg Dulcich has had 2 games in the NFL and 2 good fantasy starts, but he might be catching passes from Brett Rypien against Jacksonville this week. Juwan Johnson, we're going to see if Adam Troutman, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry are back. If none of them are back, Johnson maybe should be higher on this list, and K-Dot and continues to be a potential fill-in for us with Cameron Brate still hurting with a concussion and neck issues. Hope we can help you out with your issues as we go through the bye week gauntlet. We want to help you always at Football Guys because you're the best and you're so classy.